Good fight. Okay, I'm gonna actually minimize my chat. You guys are trying to distract me right now, okay? Let me do this analysis. Dang it, leave me alone. You're not my real dad. Alright, here we go. Alright, it's been a while, guys, but I haven't really had any super great build fights, to be honest. I've been kind of grinding scrims, and you very rarely will get like these super crazy build fights. But now that the Fortnitemares patch is live, and with that introduced the glider redeploy, there's not really much of a downside to build really high in the air, because if it does get shot out, you can just fly away. So that being said, we've got a pretty good build fight coming in from, this is just a normal pub game, but the player I was up against was really good. They went by Not Sava. They had 12 kills at this point in the game. As you can see, it's a top 3, and I had 9 myself. Just to provide a little context before we actually get into the fight itself, I am on top of one of the cabins in Wailing Woods, you can see down here, and the person I'm fighting is all the way up here on this build. I think at this point they're actually in the process of flying in on me because the zone forced them off of this part of the map, which is where they were chilling. But with the redeploy, you know, it's no problem for them to rotate in. So I'll go ahead and play this. And yeah, that's them up there. So you can see right now they're really trying to take advantage of that high ground as much as possible. And I'm just kind of turtling up because I know I'm in zone and I know they're not in zone. So I went ahead and basically waited for the inevitable, which was when they were going to glide. And you can see they take one more shot, and here comes the glide. So at this point in the fight, before it even really has a chance to get started, I knew that they were going to need to land somewhere, and preferably somewhere high ground, because if they didn't land somewhere up top, then I would have free height advantage, which if you've watched any of the other videos or any of the pro scrims or tournaments, you know that high ground is essential to winning these fights. And I knew that he needed to land somewhere high ground, and I didn't want him to land on top of my own builds. So when I knew he was gliding in, I actually edited out of my little box here. I edited the roof and then the pyramid, and I actually build straight up, because my thought process here is if the player is going to land high ground, I want them to land either on level ground as me or in my 1x1, so I can either trap kill them or get a free shot off right when they land, or something like that. Basically, you want to give yourself that advantage. And looking at the health here, you can see that this person actually had the health advantage, so an early chip damage shot would have helped me a lot here. So I realized that, so I build up, and just as I was talking about, they do actually land in my 1x1 on the left-hand side, and they are underneath the ramp. So this is actually a perfect situation for a trap kill. Because this player was double 100, they wouldn't have died instantly, but it would have given me a huge advantage because I would have had high ground, I would have had a health advantage. And so what I tried to do initially when I see them land on top of my box, because I knew they were going to try to land high ground, is cut them off with the wall right here so I can put a trap down. Unfortunately, I was a little too slow, and that player was smart, and they realized, oh crap, I'm in his box, I don't want to get trap killed, I need to get out of here. So they actually immediately start to go for the ramp up. Again, this double ramp is a really good move if you are underneath the person you're fighting and you're trying to regain high ground, because it gives you an opportunity to retake high ground, as you can see by the ramp here, without getting shot at and taking damage. And so I realized he was ramping out to the side, because if you have high ground and you want to make sure you maintain it, an important thing to do is when you lose track of the player underneath you, check all directions quickly to see which direction they might be ramping out from, so you can react appropriately. I did see they were ramping out to this side, and so I will immediately put a wall here and ramp up. And so that was a pretty good reaction by me to maintain the high ground. I really quickly knew where the player was, built up over them in that direction, and was just able to maintain high ground from there. And you'll see this move a lot, because whenever you're fighting a good player, like someone who understands build fights relatively well, they don't want to give up high ground. And they will do everything they can to make sure that they keep it. And similarly, if you're fighting an experienced player who has low ground, they will do everything in their power to try to retake it. So you're going to see this like double ramp thing a lot. And really, a lot of the build fight from my perspective is just kind of seeing the direction they're going and then ramping up over them so I can cut them off more or less. And so again, we see where they're looking. and we ramp up. However, an important thing to note here, and the reason that I was able to get so much higher over them, because if you'll remember, originally I was only 1 floor above them, but now I'm a full 2 floors above them because they're at the bottom of this ramp and I'm on this one right here, is because if I back it up just a little bit, let me just, okay, that's probably a little too much. Let me just skip through this real quick. Whoop! Fortnite for speed demons. Is that I'm actually using the faster 90-degree turn method, which I then can pair into another fast 90-degree turn, which then allows me to essentially 180 in the direction of my choosing and maintain high ground, whereas this player that's on the low ground is actually doing the slower 180 method where they just ramp, do 2 walls, and then ramp back the other direction. So if you pay really close attention here, you'll see that I do wall, 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 floor, ramp, ramp. And because I do that, I'm so much higher than this player who, if you watch them, when they turn around here, they just do a basic 180 and then ramp up. So if you don't know how to do 90s, this is not a 90 tutorial video, but this is good proof as why they're so good. So if you don't know how to do 90-degree turns, half turns, go look it up. It will change your build fighting experience forever. I guarantee it. All right. So if you're really trying to push yourself and you don't already do those, make that a priority. In any case, I won't harp on that any longer. Let's get back to the build fight. So again, I have high ground here. And this player is trying to figure out where I am so they can make a move. They actually pyramided themselves to get that little quick protection, and they edited through it, which is not a bad play. It gives you a little vision, but it also protects you. And at this point, I'm kind of doing what he's doing, if you will. Like, I don't know where he is, and I'm just trying to locate him so I can make sure that I'm looking in the right direction. I do eventually hear him going out to the side, so I also go out to the side here. And at this point, we're actually only 1 floor apart. I know that he's right underneath me, and he's got his build thing out, and I've got my double barrel, and I'm just waiting for him to confirm that edit so I can get that shot off. I believe in the first build fight analysis videos, I actually had a fight where that was the case. The player edited through and I was ready because I had that high ground advantage. We just jumped on him, got the shot clean, it was over. This player realizes, okay, well, I don't want to do that. That guy's got a double barrel and he's looking right at me. So he probably makes the better move here, which is a pyramid. The reason that he put a pyramid over this floor, by the way, is because I think he assumed I was going to shoot it out. There's a possibility that it might have actually been my floor and I could have edited. I can't remember for sure. If you watch the real-time part of the fight, you can actually confirm for yourself. But either way, the pyramid is the right move here. Because if it is my floor, the pyramid prevents me from editing down and shooting at him. And even if it's his floor, he gets 2 layers of protection. So good on him putting the pyramid down. And here he tries to throw me off. He actually puts a ramp out to the side and then goes the other direction, I believe. Yeah, because he wanted to kind of throw me off because if the person that has high ground knows where you are and the direction you're going, they're going to move that direction with you, essentially. So by putting a ramp out to the side, he was essentially trying to throw me off, and it kind of worked because you can see he's actually going out to the left here and I'm still looking right. But I do eventually hear him and I react and I continue to maintain high ground. This time, this 100% is my floor. I placed it down, and his pyramid definitely saved his life there because if I was thinking a little bit quicker, I could have also put the pyramid down, and I could have just done 2 quick edits and then got a shot off on him. But he made the heads-up connection. All right, well, that's not my floor, but this is my pyramid. He can't edit that, so he put the pyramid down. So something that's really handy to do or learn to do during build fights as well is if you are above a pyramid, you can put a wall from pretty much any side and then jump and then put a floor down to keep high ground. So I went ahead and did that. And here he goes again with the mix-up. He ramps out to that side. I think that time he might have actually just gotten stuck. And so he ramps out to the other side and tries to reset it. And all the while, I'm doing my best to maintain high ground. You know, I did a few more 180s. And at this point, I know exactly where he is. Originally, I would try to shoot the ramp out because back in my day of Fortnite, if you shoot this ramp out, the person falls and they die. But with the glider redeploy, that's no longer the case, so that doesn't really accomplish anything, meaning there's no reason to shoot it out. So I simply just tried to use it as an opportunity to get some shots off if possible. So I actually ramp up over him here, and this is where the shots finally do happen. I recognize the scenario. I have a ramp over him, and he's directly underneath me with no possibility of a pyramid because I put the ramp here to block it. So I see an opportunity for a half edit, and there it goes. He actually pyramided me because he wanted to trap kill, but I did the counter to that, which was the half edit. I drop down on him, and we get 2 clean shots, and there it is. So I guess the takeaway from that fight is 90 degrees are important. If you don't have high ground, they could help you take high ground over a player who might not know or who might not be fast at them. And if you have high ground, they make it so easy to maintain that high ground. I mean, that whole encounter, I was pretty much ahead. And the last thing I want to talk about is actually this particular scenario here, because maybe not in my videos directly, but if you've ever played Fortnite or watched streams or videos of it, you're probably familiar with the pyramid, 4-wall trap and ramp over in this exact scenario, where the player underneath can wall the player above and trap kill them, and the player above can do a half edit down on the player to both avoid the traps and get damage in. And it's really important to be able to recognize when this scenario happens from both sides of the perspective. So if you ramp over someone and they pyramid you, remember, you can do that half edit, which I recommend you practice because getting good at the half edit is honestly so useful. So you can drop down on them, catch them off guard, and get shots like I did on this guy. And if you're a low ground guy, let's say you have low ground in this situation, you need to be able to recognize that you have the ability to pyramid this player off and then trap them in a box and essentially trap kill them. And 9 out of 10 players, although more people are learning, won't realize that they can do a half edit to escape, and they will take damage from the trap and die. So yeah, anyways, it's been a while since a build fight analysis video. Here is the whole fight in its entirety, if you want to look at it. And GG's to that guy. So that was a good fight, a fun game for sure. This new glider redeploy thing is making things interesting, but it allows us to have these cool fights with no risk whatsoever, which is awesome. So that is going to be that. All right.